So when you trade Steph, it's not just trading a basketball player on the floor. Your business may suffer.
You're trading your
trade
relevancy
Steph.
away.
You're trading a lot away. This is how it ends in the NBA. It's never pretty. It's never pretty. It's not going to be a fairy tale story. But they've been blown out by the Cavaliers twice. They've been blown out by the Boston Celtics. They've been beat up by the OKC Thunder. They'll see them next week as well. So now we got to reevaluate the situation. In Dub Nation, I just wonder, where do you go from here? Draymond Green's going to get reevaluated in a week, and there goes my house of prime rib bet. That one's done in January. But, hey, I got to let you guys know my credit card limit's $250, so you can't get much. Maybe you may get some cream spinach in that dinner. But I don't know where you go from here. You have two decisions. You either ride it out through the summer or through the season and wait until the summer to make some moves, or you start getting busy right now on the rebuild or trying to build around Steph Curry, because stars don't grow on trees, folks. You're not just going to go wake up, hey, let's go get a superstar, and somebody's going to cater to you. That's not how the real world works in professional sports.
I mean, my dad used to always say, don't be mad that it's over. Be happy that it happened, And I get everybody being angry. You don't want it to be over. We're in denial. We want it to go on forever. Everybody wants everything to go on forever when we all know that sports is cyclical, more so than anything else in life. Almost like the seasons in a calendar. Like, you have your opportunities, you have your moments. Some of teams never touch what the Warriors have touched. I'm really grateful. And I know that people don't want to hear this morning. They want to cling and hang on to stuff. And I get that. Believe me, I get that. We don't have to agree. But my sense is, it's like, man, we've all, myself included, have been in denial over how difficult it is to maintain excellence and how spoiled we've gotten and how it does kind of feel like this particular run is over. Now, could things happen? Can they make moves? Of course. They're unlikely. It's not probable to be able to swing deals. But, the amount of people that were coming at me on social media because I was just acknowledging the reality of where they're at.
Why do you care about
saying, trade Kuminga for stars. It's so hard to whip up deals in this league. And you've been talking about it forever. You guys want to get rid of a bunch of used parts for a superstar. What about the team on the other end of that? They don't want your used parts. And so I'm left here this morning, and I have a different take than others. And if you don't agree with me, I get it. But like my thing is, damn, bro, I watched my guy Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors go to 6 finals.
Yeah.
Win 4 championships. All his contemporaries, B, are outside of LeBron and Kobe and Tim Duncan. All of them. Paul Pierce, 2 finals appearances, 1 title. Russ, 1 finals appearance, no titles. Dame, 0-0. Dirk, 2-1. Harden, 1-0. CP3, 1-0. Kawhi, 3-2. Paul George, 0-0. Dwayne Wade, now he went to 5, 1-3. That's why Dwayne Wade's one of the greatest. Giannis, 1-1. Tatum and Brown, who you saw yesterday, they've been to 2 finals, 1-1. Jokic is 1-1. Luka, 1 and hasn't won. Like, Steph went to 6 and won 4. What, do we think that we're entitled to 9? Like, yeah, believe me, I want to get one more. We all want to get one more. They've paid historic amounts of cash to try to keep this thing together as long as possible. And one of the icons of the franchise, he left. We've got another guy whose body's falling apart on him. Whether you like him, you think he's good or not, it doesn't matter. Like, Draymond's not there. And the rest of the team is either not in their prime, not good enough, or hurt and sidelined. Like, this is where we are. We're an 11 or 12 seed. And there's really not many opportunities to swing deals that swing you back into the top 4. I don't see a lot of deals that swing them into the top 6, let alone top 8 to get like a home game in the box. Like, the reality is that it's probably coming to a crashing thud. And yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, look, you want to be upset about the game yesterday. I worked with Monty Poole and Zeta yesterday. They brought up the word pride, having pride. Just for yesterday, when you get beat like that by the Boston Celtics, they were up 15 at the half. It should have been up 30. They mentioned pride. And Steph Curry mentioned pride, that all of a sudden they don't make a couple baskets and they get deflated. And not quit, but they lose their competitive spirit. And that, to me, is a problem. That to me is a problem of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, where a lot of fans, I saw a lot of fans actually walk into the game. And when you question pride and competitive spirit, I don't care what your record is. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how bad you are. When competitive pride and competitive spirit gets questioned, then I sit back and scratch my head and say, oh, we've got issues here. Now you got things to shake up. Now you got people feeling a little too comfortable around here being cool. Like Steph Curry, look, he was fighting and clawing in Boston. They were going at him defensively or on the offensive end. They were going at Steph Curry, involving him in all the actions. Pick and rolls, making sure you got switched on to Porzingis, Tatum, didn't matter.
Porzingis was awesome.
And I look at this, and I look up, and I say, damn, Steph has 18. The other 4 starters have 18. And yet people want to trade for a superstar when you're getting this type of production. And it just doesn't, again, last season, everybody's like, oh, man, go make the big deal. Are you really that much better with Paul George? Are you really that much better with Larry Marketing? Are they really superstar players at this juncture of their careers? I don't think so. There's no star growing on trees. So you got a decision to make. You ride this out, but guess what? Dynasties come down, and when they end with the thud. Go ask the San Antonio Spurs. Go ask Kobe and Shaq with the LA Lakers. And Kobe, when Shaq got traded, next thing you know, boom, done. Just sticking with the NBA.
Yeah.
You look at the Houston Rockets, they go back-to-back. The next year, they go get swept in the playoffs, and they never reach the mountaintop again. The New York Knicks couldn't get to they got to one finals. Yeah. One. With actually 2 with Patrick Ewing, but the second one, he was a little compromised. But you mentioned, we talk about we talk about the Celtics. When they won their one championship, KG gets hurt, boom, windows closed. This is how it ends in the NBA. It's never pretty. It's never pretty. It's not going to be a fairy tale story. So now what? Now what do you do? Because you're in the midst of this 9-game stretch, and you got the Kings on Wednesday, and they're looking their chops up in Sacramento. Then you have the back end of a back-to-back, and guess what? Bulls got some players. Zach LaVine, Kobe White, and Vooch. And you don't have Draymond, and you don't have Kuminga this week. And so what do? Or did the mistakes over the past 2 years, because now I'm starting to see the blame on everything, and I'm not going to do that. Everybody's culpable.
But that's kind of that was kind of my point. Like, we want to blame. It's like, this is just kind of natural. Like, I'm talking about being at the end with depleted assets and not a lot around you, and everyone's older and they're all hurt. And like this, show me, I know you wanted to stick to basketball. Show me a dynasty in any sport.
Go any sport.
That ended gracefully. I was looking, I was searching. I'm open to hearing any dynasty that ended beautifully.
You may go to a couple playoff runs after a championship.
Okay.
You may win a division after a championship. But when dynasties end, they end.
Ugly.
And it is hard to get back. Now, you may be able to sustain and be competitive and make some playoff runs, which I don't know if that's what people want. I don't know if people just want to be in the top 6. I don't know if people want to be in the championship conversation. But they usually don't end well. And so the reason why I say the blame game is because that's what we do in sports nowadays. For whatever reason, the social media era has become the blame game era, where we always have to find a scapegoat. We always have to find a scapegoat. Last year, it was Klay Thompson, undeniably Klay Thompson. There was no doubt about it. Klay Thompson was basically the scapegoat of last season.
The year before was Jordan Poole.
The season before that was Jordan Poole and the youngsters, right? So it's
true.
The play-in tournament year. It was Joe Lacob not trying to win at the deadline when they had Kelly Oubre Jr. So you know what? Like, it's embarrassing how we do this in sports nowadays, where somebody's got to be the blame game, and this year is probably going to be a lot more Steve Kerr and Joe Lacob than others. But you know what? Players have to hold themselves responsible, and players have to hold themselves culpable. And now the Father Time, right? Father Time seems to be hitting Draymond Green right now. Left castrate, reevaluated in a week, may not be back for 2. Who knows? Could be 3. He's also dealing with the back injury. And so when you start to see, well, where did it start to go wrong? Well, I look back to training camp a couple seasons ago when you had an incident between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, and the vibes evaporated. And so this year, it was all about the vibes being good. They got to a 12-3 start. We're feeling good. But then reality hit. And you started playing some big boys, and now you're sitting here at 21-21. And so what do you want to do, Dub Nation? 888-957-9570, because They were completely undressed yesterday by the Boston Celtics.
Well, I don't know if they're as bad as what they played yesterday, but clearly the gap between them and the legitimate contender, the defending champions, it's Grand Canyon-esque, right? I mean, I think we just need to be like aware of what we're watching, and what we're watching right now, like, is a sneaky old team with a couple of young guys sprinkled in.
So,
like, I mean, what's Wiggins in his 11th year?
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem. I'm looking it up. So we read a graphic yesterday at Post Game Live.
Give it to me.
The Warriors are the second oldest team in the league.
Just in general.
And so in general,
wow. I didn't know that.
The second oldest team in the league.
Oh.
And so some people, Dubas, shout out to Dubas, he was texting me, he was like, really, outside of Steph and Dre, they're a young team. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Well, Wiggins is 11th year in the league.
Buddy Hield and Gary Payton II are 32 years old.
Yeah, that's old in the NBA.
You know, well-traveled.
Yeah, very well-traveled.
Dennis Schroeder's 31.
And he's got mileage on him.
Kyle Anderson, 31. Andrew Wiggins, 29, but he's been in this league since he was 18 years old.
18 years old.
Kevon Looney, 28. Pat Spencer's 28. And it's just learning how to play basketball.
I didn't even know that.
Lindy Waters is 27. Lindy Waters III is 27 years old. Melton is 26, but he's gone now. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
your young guys are really young, and your old guys are old. And so when we think about prime years in the NBA, usually they're like 27 to 32, 26 to 30. Well, Steph is still Steph, but I don't know if he's prime Steph. I don't think he's prime Steph. Draymond's not prime Draymond.
Not even close.
Buddy Hield, has he ever seen a prime? I don't know. I'm just like
poor Buddy.
The poor Buddy.
I mean, he's not good.
Poor Buddy yesterday.
I lost my mind the first couple of weeks, and boy, do I feel foolish. They're not very good. I know.
6 points with Buddy yesterday. So, anyway.
Porzingis blocked him and what's his face? And Wiggins at the rim.
They're the second oldest team in the league. Well,
and they're just slow. Just like the guys that they have
small,
are physically
non-athletic.
slow. Yeah, not explosive.
It's not a recipe for success in the NBA.
No.
So I just asked Dub Nation, I'm going to sit back today, 888-957-9570. We do have Baldy coming up. We're going to talk some football with Brian Baldinger at 7:30, as we do every single Tuesday on the roast, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. But I do want to know from Dub Nation, what do you want to do now?
Can I ask you this question? Because you're talking about blame. And I'm not here to say that Joe Lacob is the smartest guy who ever ran a team, but I'm also not here to say that he's the village idiot. And I find it kind of funny. Like, I do. I find it funny how now we're like destroying this guy. All right. People do realize, like, since let's just say 1980, give or take. Like, if you started your career around 1980, like, it's Jordan, it's Pippen. They've got 6 titles. Kareem's got 6. He won 1, elsewhere, and then with the Lakers, he got the 5. Yeah. Rodman bounced around and got 5 titles. Yep. Magic got 5 with one team. Kobe got 5 with one team. And Duncan got 5 with one team. We're talking about a handful of guys that you're looking up with in a 40-year period, a 45-year period, okay, who have been more successful on the floor than you, while the league has made it almost impossible for you to retain multiple players that you drafted and developed. They've made it more penal and more difficult than ever to try to navigate the salary cap system. And with the draft being as difficult as it is, we understand that you're not getting seasoned players that are coming out. You're not getting 3- and 4-year starters in these drafts like you used to. You're getting projects. You're drafting at the end of the first round, the end of the second round. It's more difficult than ever. And then try making a trade in the NBA when it comes to balancing the numbers. I'm not here to make excuses. That's not what they've made bad picks. They've had bad development. They've done a difficult job managing the players that they've had. There's opportunities they had. They could have hit the eject button on certain players. I'm not here to say they've been perfect. My God, they've been to 4 finals. They won 4 finals and they've been to 6. We are looking at one of the most unprecedented runs across American sports in the last 50 years.
It's NBA history.
But not everyone has to be an idiot.
Well, that's I'm not even. You're addressing the online crowd.
It's the end of a run.
Listen, I don't care about the online crowd.
It's not just the internet. It's people that I discuss basketball with. People get frustrated. You're not going to bat 1,000.
Well, fans are short for fanatic, right? That's what it is. So look,
it's hard to accept it, though. I get it.
To your point, no, it is what it. That's why I keep mentioning. We're going to find out who the real ones are. We're going to find out who the real ones are with the Giants. We're going to find out who the real ones are with the Niners, and we're going to find out who the real ones are with the Warriors. That's just, it is what it is. And so you talk about, we should feel fortunate. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers have one NBA championship. The New York Knicks haven't won since the 70s. The Bucks have 2 championships. They just won one with Giannis. Before that, they hadn't won since the 70s. They had Lou Alcindor and Oscar Robertson dropping triple-doubles. The Pacers have never won before. The Hawks, I think they won maybe when they were the St. Louis Hawks with Bob Pettit back in the 50s. Orlando, they've never won. Miami's had success. Detroit's had success, and they're on the up and up.
Yeah.
Philadelphia hasn't won since, 83? I want to say?
Well, yeah,
or was it 82 when they swept the Lakers?
Moses Malone.
The Bulls. What have they done since Jordan and Pippen?
I mean, I'm literally nothing.
Flash in the pan with Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah.
So fun.
They were fun.
They were so
They haven't
fun.
been back to the mountaintop. So I go down the list. The Brooklyn Nets, when they were the New Jersey Nets, they haven't won anything since they were in the ABA. The Charlotte Hornets an afterthought. They might as well play in Saudi Arabia. Nobody cares about them. The Raptors got their one championship, and the Wizards haven't won since the late 70s. I can go to the West. OKC/Seattle hasn't won since the late 70s. All right? Houston hasn't won anything since Hakeem Olajuwon in the mid-90s. You get my point here, folks. We have been blessed, but I'm not here to say, hey, let's rest on our laurels. Let's be happy that they have championships.
I'm not saying wave the white flag.
I'm a forward thinker. How do you make this thing? How do you bring this back up? How do you become relevant again in the championship conversation or just in the playoff conversation? Do you press the reset button? Because we were having this conversation in the spring of last season, and then we had it again this summer. And we were afraid to bring it up, and I think a lot more people are bringing it up now. And I just said, boy, we're getting closer and closer to what do you do with Steph? That question and that conversation. And what does Steph want? And I know a lot of people watching that game yesterday was very deflated. Watching Steph scratch and claw while his teams get beat by 30 and 40. And it's like, damn, look at him out there. He's playing with pride. He's trying to do whatever he can to help will his team back. But now we're in that zone where the All-Star break is upon us in about less than a month. And the national media is going to come here, and they're going to send into the Bay Area, and they're going to say, you know what? Steph, what's going on? You still want to be a Warrior for life? And that's what's hitting us in the face. So what does Steph want, and how do you fix this thing? Because I'm not here to get comfortable about the wins or whatnot. I'm very thankful for what the Warriors have done.
Don't miss that break, doggy.
Let's go to... Oh, this is going to set it off.
Okay.
This is going to set it off.
Can you under-deliver, under-promise and over-deliver here?
I think this is going to set it off.
All right, let's go.
Michael, Walnut Creek.
Michael in Walnut Creek. What's up, man? How's the creek?
First-time caller, Michael.
Long-time listener. You guys do a great job in the morning. I listen to you every day.
Thank you.
First time, long time.
Yeah, and the reason why I was calling was just from listening to everybody, and everybody's frustrated. I'm frustrated. Yesterday was the first time I turned the TV off in about 20 years watching the Warriors because I just couldn't handle it. But reality is set in, and there's only one asset that we have where we will get people back. And I hate to say this, but he's done a lot for us. He's brought people in the seats. He's made Lacob rich. So I think it's time for the owner to come out and really state to the fans what direction we're going to be going. He owes it to them. But as last week, I think one of the guys were saying, Lacob needs to make a decision. Does he want to win now, or is he going to want to put people in the seats? In order to keep the franchise going, he wants to put people in the seats. He's going to have to keep Curry. If he wants to win now and he wants to build the team, he's going to have to trade Curry. I hate to do that, but look, all great players have moved on. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and I think it's reached the time. We owe it to Steph to give him another ring. He needs to go to another team and get a ring there. And I think deep down, if they go to Curry and they say, look, you care about the franchise, which I know you do, we're at the point we have nobody to trade. And I keep hearing, we're going to get this guy and get that guy. Nobody wants to come to the Warriors. And I'm sure they've reached out for other players and said, hey, we'll give you this player for this player. But at the end of the day, Curry is the number one asset. And I can assure you, people have called the Warriors and said, hey, what's it going to take to get Curry over here? The last time I checked, the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers came from where? And let me tell you, he could use a guy like Curry to beat Boston and all in Oklahoma City, because I'm sure that's what it takes. Unfortunately, you'd be surprised what kind of assets we will get back. And that female caller a few minutes ago, she said it. You know, she doesn't want to get rid of him either, but not the same player anymore. And I think we owe it to him, because I know he wants another ring, but he knows deep down he's not going to get it here. And when I listened to Steve Curry last week talk about Draymond and Steph, and they got together, that's not a business decision. That's just more of, let's ride it out. I don't think the fans want that, meaning if they want to win now, that's not even a conversation that has merit to it. And that's just my feeling. But keep up the good work. I know it's frustrating on your part. And I love Shasky. Man, the guy is passionate. That's what keeps listening to this radio.
Thank you.
Fonte, you got nice shoes when you're on the NBC doing the pregame show.
That's it? Just nice shoes?
Cool shoes, man.
Just nice shoes? Really I don't get anything else?
Got some nice leather ones, man. You do a good job, though, man, and I'm proud of you because, you know, you really make it happen, man. So keep up the good work. You guys are great. But remember, pay Purdy.
Hey, you know, B, it's interesting because, like, I've thought about this long and hard. Like, it's the unthinkable. But, like, I'm a big believer in, like, I think about all the options, whether they're the most impossible ones to conceive or not. In this hypothetical, which no one wants to even allow into their brain, but in this hypothetical where you trade Curry, the problem with trading Curry to one of these quote-unquote contenders is that those picks you're getting back are in the 20s.
Yeah.
If not into the 30s, right? And, like, that's not what you need. You need lottery picks, right? So it sounds like I get what people say. You get a huge haul. All right, I get. Even if I said to you, hey, you get the next, let's just use the Boston Celtics. You get Boston's next 10 first-round picks for Steph Curry. Well, okay, like, where's Boston picking in the next 10 years? Probably 24 through 30?
Yeah, not going to be high picks.
Right? So what does that really do for you?
Not much.
You know, like, we've been stuck in that zone for the last decade, and it's hard to draft there. Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole are the two best players you picked in that era from that particular draft range.
So Draymond Green was a second-round pick, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right. Like,
right, you know what I'm saying?
Like, and I know, like,
TJD's a second-round pick.
The Paul George thing, when they traded him to the Clippers, both those guys got hurt, right? Yep. And then they used their own picks because of how stinky they were on top of the Clipper picks, on top of trading all these other pieces and stuff. I believe they traded CP3 and Russ, and, you know, they did all this stuff. Like, you got to accumulate lots of picks. It can't just be in one of those, and you have to completely bottom out. I think if you keep Curry, you could still bottom out and get your own picks in the top 3.
I think you're fine.
Hypothetically.
I haven't got there to trading Steph Curry. I know Steph Curry doesn't want to be traded. He wants to ride this thing out, but he also mentioned before the season, how relevant are we? How relevant are we?
What if he comes to if Steph Curry comes to the podium one day and he's like, look, I love Warrior fans. You guys know I love it. I've only got a couple more years left. My kids want to see me play in the finals one more time. You know, they're all getting a little older, and I've only got a couple. I'll always be a Warrior. I'll come back around. You guys know that. I might even finish my career here.
If he did it, I wouldn't mind. I mean, that's what happens. We've seen this in this league multiple times. We're stars who get older, and they want to move around. They want another shot in the ring. They move around. They get traded. Yeah, it's happened in the league.
But what's made Curry so exclusive to those other guys is that he doesn't do the scorched earth policy where let me take all the resources of the organization for the future, and then we'll do everything we can to win now. And then the minute there's no more assets and we can't win anymore, I'm out. Like, that's what's made him unique. He's Dirk. He's Kobe. Where he stayed and Duncan. He stayed with one team. Which makes it harder.
Tim Duncan. Yeah, I haven't entertained trading Stephen Curry. I think you go other avenues around that.
Of course.
But that's a conversation, because here's the thing and I love the call from Michael Waldo Creek. That was a hell of a call for his first time.
It really
was. Call. Wow, that was a great call.
Did you agree with him? Just pay Purdy no matter whatever he wants?
Yeah, I'm with him on that.
$500 million?
Yeah, give Purdy whatever he wants. I mean, you watched Jared Goff over the weekend?
That's the cautionary tale. You
watch some of these quarterbacks in these playoffs?
They're not very good.
I feel good with Brock Purdy. I feel even better with Brock Purdy. That's where I'm at today with the 49ers. Brock Purdy, yeah, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback, man.
$60 million. Let's do it.
But think about it. Let's do it.
You almost had
my money. Hey, my money. Listen.
Might be suggestible.
And it's going to be a team-friendly deal, so everybody's going to freak out.
Even
the
know
details. Wait till the details come out. You guys are all going to be like, wow, what a deal.
$72 million cap hit in 2026. We're going to bring that up.
That's Jared Goff. I like Brock Purdy a lot more than I ever liked Jared Goff. Shout out Marin County.
He was Goffle over the weekend.
He was awesome during the regular season.
That's a 5.
Awesome.
I mean, Lamar had turnovers, wasn't as bad as Goff. Lamar had a spectacular season and had a bad end of the year. You know?
So, as I was going to say, when the call Mike made about trading Steph Curry, if you really want to do that, well, now you got to look at the ownership group and say, are you willing to lose money now? Because Steph Curry is still a draw. He's still a big-time draw.
Can I ask you, are they drawing currently? Like, in terms of the way it was maybe a couple years ago to where it is now, what's the – because you're there every night.
They're selling out now, but there's fans – the energy in the building has lacked. When you have a mediocre team, the energy in the building is not great. And so if you don't have Curry, who's a big draw, who kids love, there's 30 jerseys everywhere. If you don't have Curry, what happens to your ticket prices? They get slashed in half. What happens to your sellout streak? Probably ends. What happens to people watching on the regional networks? The ratings dip.
Of course.
What happens to national televised games on TNT,
those
ESPN,
are few and far between.
Opening night games, MLK Day, Christmas Day games?
I mean, just remember what the Warriors were like before Steph became Steph.
They had not played a Sunday NBC game, I felt like, when NBC had to. I don't ever remember the Warriors.
They played an NBA on NBC game when they were in the playoffs against the Phoenix Suns.
That was 1994.
Exactly.
What?
So when you trade Steph, it's not just trading a basketball player on the floor. Your business may suffer.
You're trading your relevancy away.
You're trading a lot away. I mean, oh my gosh.
Well, that's the unthinkable. To me, I only cross that bridge if he comes to me and says, I have to go.
Right. That's it.
And at that point, to me, because of the relationship and because of what he means to the organization and all that stuff, like, you do what you have to do. But that's the unthinkable. See, to me, I would just plead to him. I'd literally like, okay, Steph, look, we are just so screwed here. But like, I know these next year or two, you're gonna go out like Kobe if we don't, find a way to draft some guys. Like, it's the only thing I can think of. Like, we've got to do this the right way. You know this. This is how you came up on the come up. Like, you were drafted and developed.
You have to ask yourself too, if you're Steph Curry and this organization, you keep Steph, right? You start trading off parts. Can you start to develop a great tandem? Can you become a great duo playing alongside Jonathan Kuminga? Because this is the big elephant in the room. Jonathan Kuminga. Do you believe he could be that co-star along Stephen Curry and make that leap from a prospect who has potential to be a star to becoming an actual star? Like, you have to ask yourself, where's Kuminga going to be at next season? Is he going to be able to take that leap where he's a perennial 20-point per game scorer and he's grabbing 6 or 7 rebounds and he's locking down on defense?
I currently think he's the second or third best Warrior on any given night.
Right.
At minimum.
And
that's my belief.
And then will that be good enough to be in the top 6 in the Western Conference next season?
No, but I also think that given more opportunities, given more runway, I think he could easily be your second best player almost right away.
Also, what people don't think about is they say the culture. And I still think the culture is solid, but it's not as golden as it once was. Part of that had to do with the incident between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. But also, other stars see that Steph Curry's 36 years old. And they know, okay, if I go to Golden State and the pressure on me to deliver opposite of Golden State, if everything goes down and I lose, well, I'm going to be the scapegoat. Mm-hmm. Look at Kevin Durant, won 2 Finals MVPs, and people were ready to run out of town. I still haven't forgiven some Warrior fans for that.
Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, these were guys that took on roles with superstars, right, and only got grief.
Only got grief. Only got scapegoated. Yeah. Blamed for everything.
Kyrie, too, to a lesser degree.
Kyrie did, absolutely.
To a lesser degree.
And Kyrie saw the writing on the wall. He bailed from Cleveland. I understood what he was doing. It's like, I'm not going to get left here in Cleveland when this guy's already plotting to move to L.A., so in terms of LeBron James. So those superstars, do they really want to play with Stephen Curry right now at this stage? I think you'd be surprised. I think LeBron and KD, sure, why not? But they're older. I'm talking about superstars in their primes.
But also the young guys, like, I'm just using some examples. Like most of them, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he wants to be the main attraction himself.
Well,
like
he'll build that thing,
We've
right?
talked about ego, and you're like, you think that the Warriors are the only locker room with ego? No. Every young and up-and-coming player wants the stage to themselves.
I saw Montrezl Harrell put on 15 gold chains one night in the Clipper locker room. And got mad. And got mad when somebody suggested that somebody else had the chain. He said, hey, nobody got this chain. And like the swagger, Montrezl Harrell had it like so. This
Montrezl Harrell. He did destroy the Warriors one
I'm not going to lie. That's why it kind of drives me crazy when I hear things like, well, Clay had a bad attitude. Jordan Poole had a bad attitude. Your egos are too much. This is pro sports.
Did you see the...
this is pro sports. Where have you been all your life?
Did you see the Jason Williams video that's circulating across the internet?
No.
Jason Williams, White Chocolate, was doing all these sit-down interviews. It's phenomenal. And he goes, I went to do a workout for the Orlando Magic. And it's Chuck Daly is the guy doing the workout.
Right.
Yeah, the famous USA coach, Pistons champion, Chuck Daly. And he's doing a one-on-one with Bryce Drew from Valparaiso. Remember the Bryce Drew hit the shot
in the tournament.
And
he don't miss.
Slid on the ground.
Yeah, he did.
And
he don't miss.
Jason Williams says that Chuck Daly goes to me, goes, hey, look, I got a tea time in an hour and a half. I need this to be over. And Jason, because it's a workout to get drafted. And Jason Williams goes, it's all good. I only need 20 minutes. And cooked Bryce Drew in 20 minutes and was like, yeah, I'm going to destroy him. And he goes, you tell Bryce Drew I said that because he knows I cooked him. Yep. This is White Chocolate.
Yeah.
Who's like, I mean, he's a really good player, but how many players do I have to name from the 90s and the 2000s before I can bring him up?
Right. So I don't want to hear about bad attitudes and egos. This is what happens in pro sports. They all have egos. Look at the Padres clubhouse with Tatis and Machado. We see it left and right. Buster Posey, even though he's quiet, has an ego.
They all do.
He wants to kick your ass. He's confident. So
Camilo Duvall didn't want to come into games where he wasn't involved in a save.
So I don't want to hear about bad attitudes anymore. Please. These guys all have egos. They want to be the guy. They want to be the guy. You should be. Why wouldn't you want to be the best? Why wouldn't you want to feel yourself and say, you know what, I'm the best at what I do? Let's go to Jay in Oakland. Jay, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
What's up?
You know what? A couple weeks ago, maybe it was even last week, when Steph and them came out and said that they're not going to be swinging for the fence and Morgan in the future, I was kind of upset about that because I thought it was more like loser talk. But the more that I think about it, man, it makes complete sense because this team is irrelevant. They're not really going anywhere. Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't know too many people who's rushing home after work to turn on a Warriors game. It's just not an entertaining brand of basketball right now, to be honest with you. So I think the main solution is sometimes you got to, like, tear it down to build it back up. Like, know what I mean? And Bonte, I hear you, man, about the whole wait until the summer to see how things play out and see what players are available. The only problem with that is we know what type of players are going to be available in the summer. It's going to be old role players or role players that are on bad teams. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, but also real quick, I'm going to let you finish, Jay. It's not so much that I want to wait until summer, because if they can make a move before the deadline, fine, make a move. Is it going to make it better? But my thought process is there may be more options available and more teams to trade with, because contracts, obviously you lose a year off these contracts, and who knows who's going to be disgruntled in the summer on said team. So there's always going to be a star that says, I want out somewhere. Always. Now, the new CBA makes it complicated. Oh, Jay in Oakland hung up. But I do think that there will be just more options on the table. If they make a trade before February 6th, fine. But I'm not going to go crazy if they don't make a trade February 6th.
Let me throw this one at you. Like, I think this is a good medium. Like, it's not tanking and it's not trading for some old guy. What if you just swung big and you threw a couple picks at Zion Williamson?
Sure. It's something different. Sure. At this point. Sure.
If I told you Steph and Zion for the end of this year, I don't know if Kuminga's in that deal. This is hypothetical. I think that galvanizes the fan base enough for the time being. I don't know what that does to winning. I really don't. But I do think that there's some sex appeal to that just for the average fan. They know Zion. There's a name recognition to it. I don't know if it impacts winning like we all want, but there's some intrigue there. Does that do anything for you?
Well, it does. It does at this point. A few weeks ago, it didn't, because I didn't see him playing. He was out. He couldn't get in shape. But CT's been back in 4 games. He's played 28, 28, 24, 23 minutes. They've kept his minutes down. Why? I don't know. But in those minutes, first game back against Minnesota, and he's talking and jawing with Anthony Edwards. 22, 6 and 4, 9 to 15 in 28 minutes.
Boy, they could use that.
Against Boston.
God.
They lost by 1 at Boston. Played Boston very tough. 28 minutes, 16 to 7 and 3, 5 steals. Not bad, right? 24 minutes at Chicago, 21, 9 and 7. Wow. And then you see Utah. Utah has nobody playing. Utah sucks. But 24 and 14 and 6 and 3 blocks.
I'd take him in a heartbeat.
So on this team, when you need athleticism and somebody to jump above the rim, it's different. You're going to have to tweak your style, but I'm a lot more open-minded to it than I was 2 weeks ago.
It's a huge risk, to your point, Bonte, but at this point, if it hits, it literally checks every single box that you've had the last couple of years that you don't have.
Name
young
appeal.
superstar recognition.
Yeah. Power at the rim.
Young.
Yeah.
He's got power. He could be a defensive freak. He could do he is a unicorn when healthy that you're not going to get anywhere else. Like Brandon Ingram's not going to come on.
He signed and this is a guy you sign long term. They signed him. He's in the midst of a 5-year, 100. What was it? 100 and forget the deal. But anyway, he's making 36.7 this year. 39.4 next year, 42 the year after, 44 the year after that.
That's not that bad.
And in today's NBA, it's not that bad.
Cheaper than Emmanuel Quickly, and I'll take Zion over Quickly.
And listen, as you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and HG1 San Francisco, and IC Sports Station, always live on the free out of Seattle. What Stan Van Gundy did with Zion a couple years ago is he allowed him to play the point forward. And he was dropping damn near triple-double numbers.
Yeah, coming down the court.
Now, a change of scenery for him, it's obvious he doesn't want to be in New Orleans. He always wanted to be in New York. Would he be able to survive on the West Coast? Maybe he comes here, plays alongside Steph Curry, sells some jerseys. He's playing next to Kuminga. It won't hurt. Now, would New Orleans do that? I would love to talk to somebody from down in New Orleans. Maybe we do that later in the week. What's their market? What are they doing? Because right now it feels like they're going to trade Brandon Ingram first and foremost. I kind of don't want Brandon Ingram because he's a free agent after the season and he can't stay healthy.
But if it cost me, like if I told you right now, like Draymond, Wiggins, some other combinations, whatever, and I had to take on Ingram, like, okay, let's do it. Let's just see. Let's just test drive it. Let's see where it goes. Like, it can't be worse than what we're doing now. Because to me, that would be the happy medium of, hey, take a swing.
Would people be in on Zion, 888-957-9570? Here's what Slater said last week.
You would rather have Zion than Jimmy Butler?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Would you rather have Zion than Paul George?
I would, yes,
okay.
Because of the age.
Okay,
because of the age.
Me too. And I understand the risk. Like right. You're taking a giant risk.
He's 24 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
He's 24.
Okay, what about Larry Marketing? Straight up, just Zion.
I'm taking Zion.
Okay,
I've seen more from Zion than I've ever seen from Larry Marketing.
Like this is something I would.
But I don't know if he's available. So here's what Slater had to say about it because he's tapped in.
Wait, would the Pelicans even trade him? Brandon Ingram is an expiring deal. Like he's gonna very likely be very available, and but that comes with like, do you want to pay him long term? You got to decide on that. As far as Zion goes, like, do the Pelicans really want to trade him at his lowest value and just give him up for some salary filler and a pick or two? Like, I'm not sure that he's like that's even going to happen. So I think sometimes people throw out names. It's like there's other teams with other motives on the other side of these deals. I mean, you're dealing with it with Chicago, where it's like. Sure, the urgency of the moment might be there for the Warriors to try to make a trade on mid-January, but Chicago, like we all know, they're not only are they going to probably wait up until February 5th, 6th to decide on a direction this season. We've seen the last few years they haven't made a deadline deal in like 3 seasons. They're like the longest standing like stay pat team.
They are. So that's great perspective by Anthony Slater. 510 says Zion held to the no, paying season tickets to hope he stays on the court. A hard pass.
How's that different from Draymond?
Great question. 888-957-9570 is the number. 888-957-9570 is the number. What do you want to see the Warriors do? Jan and Mountain View gets you on the other side. We'll play the Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith sound. Who do you agree with, Barkley or Kenny Smith? It sounds like a lot of our callers this morning agree with Kenny Smith.
And we'll get to it, but
we'll get to that in a second after Robin said Bruno.
Okay, let's go to Robin.
Yeah, we'll go to Robin said Bruno because I agree with Kenny Smith.
Well, that's where I was going to go with all this.
I was like, Kenny's right.
Yeah,
Kenny's right. Robin said Bruno, what's up?
First off, let me start. I want to say this. I want to say this first. Shout out to Adam Peters for seeing the vision. You know what I mean? Seeing the future. You know, he got him a brother at quarterback, and look at what they're doing. With a bad roster, but that's another day. But anyway, Steve Kerr, look. The offense was designed for Steph and Clay. I don't think no other player want to come to the Warriors because they don't want to be playing in that system. You know what I'm saying? The players nowadays want to play free and use their ability.
Look at Kuminga. He's not being able to use his ability because y'all still want to play Draymond Green. So for the Warriors, I think it's time to let Kerr go. I think he won his rings, but you need a guy who can build the youth, develop the youth, and for the next chapter in Warriors basketball. Because honestly, these young NBA players don't want to play 40 and over basketball. They're not trying to run, shoot threes all day, set a pick. Nah, that's not what they're doing. They're trying to get up the floor and use their athletic ability and entertain the fans. The Warriors is playing their style of ball, but I gotta disagree with y'all. I'm putting this on Kerr because Kerr had opportunities to develop Wiseman. He chose not to. Wiseman can hit a pick and pop jumper. Wiseman can go down the lane and dunk. I mean, Wiseman and Hakeem Olajuwon, but in this era, he can get you if you pay him 25 minutes a night, he gonna get you 12 and 10 a night, 12 and 8, easy, just off dunks and mid-range jumpers. But Kerr didn't want that when he did have them. So not having the right big is not an excuse for Kerr. That's what he likes. So at the end of the day, it's over. The Warriors had to run, and I just think they need to go a different direction because I don't think players, with the taxes that go on out here, I don't think players, this is not a place where they really want to go because they know they won't be able to do what they need to play every game. They got to play.
Rob, let me boil this down. And do you agree with me on this? At the end of the day, if a lot of things are equal, because the way the NBA is, like a lot of the max deals are, guys want to have fun and win. And right now, this is not a place. Right now, it doesn't feel like a place where people can have a lot of fun and win.
Well, no, because these, which Steph, Clay, and them boys did was win these championships. Now all the fans and the organization think, we got to win a championship. Now there's no fun in watching the games no more. It used to be fun just seeing the Warriors develop and watch the games. Now all fans think about, we got to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we a championship. No, you're not a championship team.
Exactly.
So until fans get that into their head, and then like I said, Curry a good coach, but for this particular team, they need a Mark Jackson type to build it up. And if you want to circle back to Steve Kerr when they get right, do that. But you need somebody who can build these youngsters up. Just like Mark built up Clay, built up Steph. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. So I don't think Kerr that type of coach, to be honest with you.
And also, here's the thing, though.
The downfall is near, and it's coming hard.
It is coming hard. As you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HG1, San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. One thing, everybody is pinpointing, like, boy, why did the Warriors keep selling for threes yesterday against Boston? Why do they keep chucking up threes? The answer is simple. Outside of Steph Curry, who can blow by their man and penetrate and kick? You know what I'm saying?
No, so maybe Schroeder.
Right, maybe Schroeder sometimes.
Yeah, Schroeder.
But he holds onto the ball so damn long, and the ball sticks in his hands. And this fit with the Schroeder, God bless his soul. His family just came back to the Bay not too long ago.
I'm rooting for him.
He's happy, but I knew this would be an uphill battle for him playing in this system where he's going from heavy pick and roll with the Brooklyn Nets, having the ball in his heads and going to the rack, to now playing 0.5 basketball to where you got to make decisions left and right. And you're not touching the ball as much as you want. You've got nobody really who can take their man off the dribble. And that's why it hurt watching Jordan Poole do what he did Saturday. It was like, damn, Jordan Poole could do that. We knew he could do that.
I know.
What the heck? What's going on here? But you mentioned the Kenny Smith sound because we're both on it. I'm watching it at halftime. I'm like, wow, Kenny's on it. And obviously the internet didn't care to hear it. Even though Kenny Smith's a two-time NBA champion, played with Hakeem Olajuwon, has been around the game for a long, long time, was a parade All-American in North Carolina, high school All-American.
Well, if you were just to say, who is a reasonable, smart basketball mind who watches everything and has good perspective?
Kenny Smith.
He's like the last guy I think of, especially in the NBA landscape where everyone's throwing out hot takes.
Right.
Like
Kenny
he's pretty reasonable.
We've had Kenny on the show multiple times. Yeah, no, I love Kenny.
I always learn when I watch him.
I love Kenny. But, irrational fans will disagree. Here's what Kenny had to say about the Warriors and the Lakers possibly rebuilding.
I want to talk about the rebuild.
Which rebuild?
With Golden State. And they're in a similar situation as what the Lakers are in, but much different in the same results. When you're rebuilding around LeBron James, and you say, hey, he's later in his years, he's maybe not the same player, but he's still a great player, or one of the top players in the league. LeBron James plays with the ball in his hand. So you have to build the team that actually fits in. So you're going to bring in older players. I think with Steph Curry, he actually plays without the ball a lot, and he's running off picks. So now you can bring in and say, we're going to do a young rebuild with young energy to get him shots easier because he's catching, shooting more instead of beating people off the dribble. So the rebuild is different. They should go young through the draft, through trade, keep guys like Kuminga, not think about trading. Guys like Kuminga and his age, that group is where they need to be. Where the Lakers, they need to get older players at times to go with LeBron because LeBron handles the ball.
I mean,
astute point right there. Young energy, fresh legs. You see Kuminga and Curry working on the pick and roll, man. It started working.
Especially in fourth quarters.
Fourth quarters where Kuminga can get downhill and use his explosiveness to get to the rim. That's what they're missing right now. They are an older team. I don't care what anybody says. They got the second oldest team in the league. And you look at the roster, and everybody can say, well, Steph's 36 and Dre's 34. Well, Dre's got a lot of miles, and he's got a left calf strain right now. He's going to be out for at least the next week.
He's been banging with people 60 to 100 pounds heavier than him and 5 to 8 inches taller.
For a decade.
Of course he was going to break down.
The body's breaking down. All right? GP2's 32.
And his body's always, we love GP2, but let's call it what it is. He's often injured. He plays a rugged style of basketball.
Excuse me, GP's 32. And he's a small who plays big.
Exactly.
Buddy Hield's 32 years old. 32.
Gosh, that is surprising.
Been in the league a long time. All right? Dennis Schroeder's 31. A lot of miles there.
Decade in the league.
Kyle Anderson, 31.
Decade in the league.
This is stinking from the head up.
Andrew Wiggins, 29. Been in this league since he left his freshman year out of Kansas. Kevon Looney, 28. Had multiple hip injuries, but he looks good.
Decade in the league, though.
But Pat Spencer's learning how to play NBA basketball. He's 28. Pat Spencer. Lyndon Waters a third, 27.
Quentin Post, who played yesterday, isn't he like 25?
24.
24. He got a block, though.
He did get a block. He had a career eye yesterday.
I thought he looked good. Well, I mean, yeah. I was only played like 2 games prior.
Right, yeah, I know.
So everything's a career high.
I know. I just had to get it out there.
It's like us when we started. We started from 0 audience. We're the fastest growing show in America.
888-957-9570 is the number. We got Baldy coming up at 7:30 as we'll get back into the playoffs. We'll talk some national championships. And we'll play this Kenny Smith sound more today because I want to know if people agree with Kenny Smith. I already saw somebody on the 559. Kenny is wrong. He's wrong. Okay. All right. Well, why is he wrong? Call us. 888-957-9570. But, some people think it's karma. And Jordan Poole coming to town Saturday. But some of the fans who are doing all the crying and doing all the complaining and doing all the bitching and moaning are the same fans who wanted KD out of here. He's one of the greatest players we've ever seen. And now, here it is 5 years later, and you're begging for a superstar. You're begging. You had one.
No, you're begging
ran him off because
you're begging for a malcontent. Not like Jimmy Butler. I just put a list together. I'm going to use Jimmy Butler as an example. I put a list together. He didn't even make my list of quote unquote stars. Like, I guess he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but is he a superstar?
Not to me.
If I said Jimmy Butler to my wife, she'd be like, who? She wouldn't know who he is.
She might.
I don't know.
She might.
I'm not trying to dismiss him. He's a very good player. But, like, superstar? That's not a superstar.
Well, what's funny is I see this text, and 559 says...
Kevin Durant is a superstar.
Yeah, this guy, 559, says the Knicks didn't go young. Well, Karl Anthony Towns is in his prime at 29 years old. Mikal Bridges is in his prime at 28 years old. Jalen Brunson's in his prime at 28 years old. OG Anunoby is 27. 27. Landry Shamet's been around the league, but he's only 27.
God, I feel like
they've got one player
they've
got one player right now who's 30, and that's Campaign, backup point guard.
Yeah.
You look at Boston, their core, Tatum and Brown, what's their ages?
Like 28.
28, 27, 26, athletic primes. The Warriors don't have that right now. They don't. And you can see it on the floor, even when they play Toronto or Washington. Just look at the athletic advantages those other teams have. It's night and day. Night and day.
Kenny's basically saying, like, you need to go young and you got to commit to that. And I agree with it. And I know it's the hard thing to do is accept the reality, right? It's to accept the reality of where you're at. You're not a championship contender. And the 1 or 2 players that you have that is in that window, as in Andrew Wiggins, like, he's a really good and useful player, but he's not a number 2 on a nightly basis for an 82-game season, who at times can be a 1. Like, you talk about Tatum and Brown. Any given night, one of them's going for 35.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Porzingis, when he's healthy, he could go for 30 any night. Drew Holiday, though older, like he's a solid player and one of the best perimeter defenders in the game. Then they have Hauser and Pritchard and all of these ancillary pieces that fit perfectly.
Yep.
Right? They're all ready to contribute because they know exactly what their role is. You know, Pritchard knows what he is.
Yep. And he's averaging over 14 off the bench.
Well, he's a scrappy good player.
Hell of a season.
I mean, if I was Podziemski, I'd be looking at Peyton Pritchard and saying, like, that's the role I would try to embrace.
There it is. 559, go get talent. We can draft. Well, you think they're not trying to get talent? You think it's just so, hey, let me just dial up the number in New Orleans and go, send me Zion and Brandon Ingram. Like,
and here's Podziemski.
I'm telling you, Grant Liffman told me this. I don't know if it was supposed to be off the record. Maybe it was. But he said the one thing he's learned working in the Atlanta Hawks front office, Grant Liffman, formerly of the Warriors Outsiders, he goes, I cannot believe how hard it is to make a trade. Because we do the NBA 2K stuff and fantasy basketball. We're like, oh, yeah, cool. But he goes, they had a player that they were trying to get for a season and a half. They finally got him, but he was like, it is extremely difficult to try to get two sides to come together. This is Grant Liffman. So if you don't want to believe Joe Lacob saying trades are hard, Grant Liffman works in the front office of the Hawks. It's like, Bonte, I did not realize how hard it was to make trades in this league.
Trades are hard.
It is. It is. It is what it is. You got to have the right pieces. You got to have the right picks. You got to have the right formula. It's not that easy, folks. You could think it's easy because another team just made a trade, but they may have had better assets than you. That's a possibility.
Well, someone's got to want what you have.
Because that's the thing that I keep going back to. All these fans want to trade for a star, but the players on your team you disrespect left and right, say they suck. So what do you think you're going to get for them if they suck?
How many trades in all your fantasy leagues? How many trades? A couple?
2, maybe 3.
In all your leagues?
If that.
Come on. It's hard.